You're listening to Gamers Digest, a podcast where your hosts put the controllers down just long enough to talk about gaming news, rumors, and anything else they can think of. Here are your hosts, Spider1 and Mr. Factastic.
Nice and shaved.
Yeah.
Looking good. Unlike
Cold.
Me.
My head's cold though.
It's still like 90 degrees out.
I feel chilly.
Well, we are Gamers Digest. We are a fan podcast. We talk about gaming news, rumors, pretty much anything we want to now. Yeah. News is been kind of slow the last couple of weeks, so we've been doing a lot of discussion topics.
Changing the format up a little bit.
Yeah, we have a new segment this week. We're gonna do about the same amount of news stories that we used to do, but we're gonna do a lot of real quick news stories. So we're pretty much just gonna bounce back and forth, like so and so, and then you'll do one, and then I'll do one, and then we do have some full news stories, just because we're still trying to figure it out. So,
yeah, it's only episode 15.
Yeah, some shows are on like 200, 300, and they change it up too. So what have you been playing this week?
I finished Gears of War 3, just the story mode on the single player mode. That was
Kill
cool.
the locusts.
I killed the locust and the lambent.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's my review for this week, so you'll see my personal opinion about it. I mean, it was cool to play. I mean, I've been looking forward to it. It's one of the main games I look forward to playing when I got back on the Xbox, and that's it.
You sound enthused. I'm sure this review is going to be good. What else have you been up to?
I played Left 4 Dead 2, and I also started playing Walking Dead again. This time on the Xbox, because my PlayStation's dead, and pretty soon episode 3 of Walking Dead should be coming out. So
we started. We tried to repair your PlayStation.
Yeah, we did a little PlayStation surgery.
And failed horribly.
Yeah.
It's in no worse shape than when we started.
Yeah, pretty much. So
I looked up some more stuff, so I might try again. Maybe taking the power supply apart, but other than that, it might be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually I just started Walking Dead.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
So
what'd you think so far?
Other than dying right away, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I'm pretty terrible at adventure games. I probably should have precluded you to that. I'm like, what the first-person shooter? Where? Oh man, I remember playing King's Quest on like the PC, and it would take me like hours and hours, and it would be like a switch under the carpet.
Oh.
So.
Did you ever play Myst?
Yeah.
I didn't. I guess I wasn't into adventure games back then. I couldn't get the hang of them.
Myst was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it was.
So, but yeah, I play a little Walking Dead. I played a lot of Pac-Man Championship Edition.
That game looks awesome.
Yeah, I got a review. I actually got videos for both of ours.
Oh, nice.
So people will be able to see what we're talking about. I really dug into Witcher 2. I probably put about 15 to 20 hours into it. It's hard. I got a little ways, and then I decided to just stop and start over on an easier difficulty. You can change the difficulty on the fly, but I figured I'd just start over. Plus,
do it fresh.
Yeah, and it's another one of those games where a lot of your choices affect the story. Like, in fact, so much so that at the end of the first act, what you choose will result in the next two acts being completely different from each other. Like different location, different quests, different everything. So, yeah. Played some Portal 2. I'm trying to get back into that. I want to do the co-op missions, but I didn't get a chance to this week. And then I fired Team Fortress 2 back up just because I want to get back in the swing, because we have a pretty interesting news story about that.
Yeah.
So it's been a pretty busy week. Actually, the normal World of Warcraft, Diablo, and stuff like that, I haven't really touched it. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you've been
busy.
Yeah, much to the chagrin of my wife. But that's okay. Well, you gotta balance. All right. Well, let's. We don't have a bump for the new news segment, so we'll just use the regular one. But hopefully, we'll get a new bump by next week.
News and rumors.
All right. So the first story is Tony Hawk's remake is coming out for PlayStation 3 August 28th. It's already out on Xbox and PC eventually. Next.
Dust 5.14 beta for 2 weeks, starting on August 24th.
Yep, that's pretty cool. PlayStation All Stars is getting delayed until November. It was originally October.
And Walking Dead episode 3 is finished and submitted. It should be coming out soon.
Not soon enough.
Not soon enough. It should have been out yesterday.
Yeah. Well, what was out yesterday was Final Fantasy VII for the PC, but only in Europe. You can't buy it in the U.S. yet.
This is a cool piece of news. Dead Space 3 has been announced to launch on February 5th.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I should probably go back and play the second one.
It was interesting.
Well, I played the first one. I started the second one, and then I was like, this is really the first one again. It's like Gears of War.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah.
And the last piece of quick news is there's actually a YouTube app out. I wrote today, but I wrote these yesterday. So yesterday, for the PS3, and you can actually use your phone to control the PlayStation via Bluetooth. So that's pretty cool.
That was neat.
All right, well we've got first a rumor that we will crush. Why don't you do this one?
Half-Life 3 to appear at Gamescom. Basically, it was announced on the official. It was announced on the official list of the games to be shown. What is that laugh?
Dickie.
Oh, is she watching?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I think she's watched an anime.
Oh,
It's hard to tell. I don't have the user list up.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so Gamescom, Half-Life 3.
Yeah, that's in Europe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in Germany,
Yeah.
where you currently are.
Where I was born.
Oh, okay. You get confused sometimes.
Okay, it's the biggest gaming convention in the world, and after a quiet E3, we thought that Half-Life 3 was going to be coming out.
Yeah, well, I wrote this story, and then last night they said Valve came out with an official saying no games will be shown at Gamescom. So I think it's kind of fishy. It's kind of weird that and Dragon Age 3 ended up on the list.
Yeah.
It's very arbitrary for those two games to end up on the list.
I don't know. I think we might. It's been way long overdue, and yeah,
we might see it. So
yeah,
hopefully.
It's just weird that how. I mean, why not just be open about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
show it.
Yeah. I mean, are they trying to get people? I mean, people are gonna be psyched either way.
Right.
You know. I guess.
Well, you do have some.
Yeah. More Valve related news. Team Fortress 2 is going to be adding co-op to Team Fortress 2. Basically, it's called Man vs. Machine. It pits. It's kind of like Horde mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Horde mode, where basically you fight waves. It's like co-op mode where you fight waves of robots. And this is cool because Team Fortress has always been about red versus blue,
man versus man.
Yeah, man versus man, and it's actually out today.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm excited to try this. Like I said, that's why I fired it back up.
Yeah, I mean, so. I've been a big fan of Team Fortress, like it's back on Half-Life, and when the new one came out, I liked how I remember when they announced Team Fortress 2 long ago. It was like supposed to be realistic, like military, and then they did the cartoony style, and I was a little leery at first, but I mean,
you got it on the orange box.
Yeah, I got it on the orange box, and it stayed true to the original game. So I mean, I actually want to pick up the orange box again so I can play it. I don't think the Xbox is going to get this version, but
probably not.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just the PC free to play. Because I actually I haven't kept up with what the orange box actually gets.
Yeah, I remember.
Because there's a lot of updates to it now. Like the crafting system.
I heard that the Xbox or the orange box version, it's only on the Xbox, isn't it? Yeah, I heard that it wasn't going to get any of the updates.
Hats.
So.
The hat simulator. So, yeah, I'm excited. I want to try it just because, A, it's co-op, so that's always cool. And B, there's like an upgrade system, so you can like upgrade all your stuff, like in between the waves. You can start out with a pistol and eventually work your way up
with your points and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Next story is for all of us old folks who remember Neo Geo and the Neo Geo games out in the arcade. It's actually coming back as a handheld. It's going to be called Neo Geo X Gold. Excuse me. Yeah, it's going to be coming out in December, and it's actually going to be preloaded with 20 games. I imagine a lot of the SNK games will be on there,
Yeah.
Samurai Showdown,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Final Fight.
Right, and it's going to be $200, which is actually a little bit expensive on the handheld side.
Yeah.
For an old system.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got a 4.3-inch display and a bunch of memory and stuff that I forgot to write
Now,
down.
is it going to have cartridges or?
As far as I know, it's just going to be direct download. But it's cool that they're bringing older systems back, and this is actually going to be one of our discussion topics of um, retro gaming and where it's headed. So that's pretty cool. Did you ever play any of the Neo Geo
Nah,
stuff?
I mean,
Super
emulated,
Metro Baseball.
emulated stuff. Mostly just like Final Fight and some of the fighting games. You know,
Yeah.
that's really,
I played the crap out of Samurai Showdown. That was like the
yeah.
best fighter back in the day. Like I think I actually like that better than Street Fighter when it was popular.
Hmm.
So
It looked better.
yeah,
Yeah, it looked
that was
better.
the big thing. And Metro Baseball, and then Baseball 2023, all those. So
Neo Geo. I just like saying Neo Geo.
what was the reminds me of the Game Gear.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Nobody remembers the Game Gear. It's like the Virtual Boy. People try to forget that too.
Yeah, they do.
The original.
That was so crappy.
The original VR headset.
Hmm.
All right, well, I got a little bit of bad news this week. There we go. Blizzard's Battle.net was actually compromised in a hack this week. They haven't identified the hackers yet, but they have put out a statement saying that a bunch of info was accessed, including emails, encrypted passwords, security questions, but they are under the belief that no financial data like credit card information was compromised. So that's good. Um, Currently, I would say change your password. They're urging people to really change your password, which is actually a funny thing that a friend and I were talking about. Uh, Blizzard's BattleNet passwords aren't case sensitive, which is like the only place I've ever heard of for a password not to be case sensitive. That's like security 101.
Yeah.
Um, but change your password. Um, they also said that if you have a mobile authenticator, uh, those could actually be compromised. But they're pushing out an update. They said it should be out this week to fix that. And there was one other thing that I forgot to write down. Oh, the security questions. They're going to be forcing people to change those within the next coming weeks. Um, so change your password. You should be all right. That kind of sucks. I mean, Blizzard's always one that we can't get hacked, we can't get hacked, and then they get hacked. So
Yeah.
it's happening to everybody.
Everything's got to go.
Yep.
This next story is interesting piece of news, especially
Exciting for people like us.
Yeah, like the last show we talked about, you know, gaming leagues and
Esports.
stuff. Yeah, esports. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is gonna include streaming and shoutcasting for its. I mean, it's gonna be one of the first games to ever have anything like this.
At least console games.
Yeah, console wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Two players can serve as commentators for the matches, and they're gonna. I mean, I really like to see it in action. Like I can right now, it's really just like speculative. Like in the
Theory.
yeah, in the article, people said that they tried to commentate and they didn't realize how bad they were at it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people out there who are going to be good, and so basically, two people can serve as the commentators and they can commentate on the games or comment on the games. And there's also going to be streaming, so there's like a little delay to it. But I mean, people are going to be able to watch these games
Right.
live
Mostly
while they're
live.
being played. Yeah, while they're being played, and they can also commentate on the games after they've already been played. So like, because I remember when
Replay.
replay. Like I remember when Halo 3 came out, it was a big deal to be able to save those gameplays.
Theater
Yeah,
mode.
theater mode. Yeah. Like I remember for Call of Duty, I'm pretty sure it was Call of Duty, the first Modern Warfare, that one shot where the guy like throws a knife and like goes across the whole map and like knifes the one dude. And like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, there were games in Halo that I really liked that feature because like one game, it was shotguns and snipers, which you remember how those games go.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody runs to the middle, and whoever's best with the sniper rifle wins.
Yeah.
And then it kind of breaks into chaos. Well, our group of four went one way, their group of four went the same way. So four of us met up, and I'm aiming with the sniper rifle, and as I'm aiming, I get hit. So my immediate reaction is I pull back and shoot, because it takes you out of the zoom. So I just walk backwards and shoot, and it's like so and Spider One has killed so and I was like, oh, I must have got a lucky shot. So I went back and watched the replay. I had actually, and this is no skill involved. This is all luck. I had actually hit the wall and banked a shot off the wall and headshot somebody.
Wow.
And I actually still have that screenshot saved on my computer because that is such an awesome. Because with the sniper rifles on Halo, they left the smoke trail, so you could see it hit the wall and bang.
Wow.
So, and ever since then, I've been trying to bank shots. I think I successfully banked one off the floor once, but that was with a friend standing still.
Oh.
So, but that one was pure luck, and that theater mode was really cool.
It was cool when it first came out.
So you imagine like commentators watching that, they're like, off the wall,
Yeah.
off the wall, rocket to the face.
It's gonna be they're really opening up a new can of worms with this.
Right. See, like I'd like to commentate StarCraft matches, but I don't understand StarCraft worth crap, so I can't really commentate on it other than the fact like, oh, there's a lot of bugs on that map, and there's a lot of blue guys. So.
But now, this raises a question for me that we talked about how like creating a gaming league. This might be a direction that the gaming industry should strive towards.
Right.
In order to help sustain itself.
Right.
Will this with this being implemented in this game hinder that in any way? In the sense that, is it going to take away from creating, a unified league? Or
I don't know. It could. I don't think it could hurt it. Actually, I think for the Call of Duty level, the only real Call of Duty commentators that I know of are already employed by like pro leagues like IGN and stuff like that, Major League Gaming, um, stuff like that. Uh, so it could help. Like it could bring a lot of new talent in there. I mean, that's how a lot of the StarCraft commentators got started. They were good StarCraft players, and then they started shoutcast and YouTube. Like obviously, Sean Day9 Plot is the big example because he's everywhere now. He commentates StarCraft. He commentates pretty much everything, and he just kind of did it on his own after he was a pro player. So he really knows how to commentate. But he's personable, and I think there's a lot of people out there that could benefit from this. Unfortunately, it's on a Call of Duty game, so I'd like to see Halo 4 step it up.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of info coming out on that too. I was actually going to throw a Halo 4 story in here, but
maybe they're going to scramble to do something.
You don't know. There's a lot of details in Halo 4 we don't know about yet. So they could have something like that in there because they were the first ones to do the theater mode and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see where it goes. So I guess one thing we should mention is it's not going to be PC only. All platforms are going to be able to do this, like the commentators and the do the streams. Now you can only watch the streams on a PC, Mac, or like a mobile phone. But it's something that computers are doing. I mean, we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I hope they bring some other games.
Yeah.
And,
maybe expand beyond.
I'm thinking maybe with future consoles, maybe this can be implemented into the console instead of game specific.
Listen up, Ouya. We didn't do an Ouya story this week.
We didn't.
That's because their Kickstarter's closed and there's nothing to talk about until the console's out.
Yeah.
Did you hear what the Kickstarter ended up at?
It's like 8.6 million.
Yep. Yeah, it was really high.
Yeah.
A little higher than 900,000.
Yeah, what they originally wanted. They're just like I want to say they're set for life now.
Yeah, that console, man, there's gonna be some high expectations for that now.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, our first discussion topic's actually gonna be on consoles and handhelds. It's about retro gaming. Retro gaming's really big out west, so I guess it's less of a discussion out there. They've always done the retro consoles, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Current retro market is like Virtual Machine and whatever PlayStation decides to throw up recently.
Yeah.
So there really isn't a whole lot of retro market out there. Uh, and with that Neo Geo X, it got me thinking like maybe they should start rather than Virtual Shop releasing like old handheld or new handhelds that play old games, specifically for a lower price point. Like, say you get a Nintendo system, like the Nintendo Retro Entertainment System,
Yeah.
and it plays, N64 games and down.
Hmm.
Still eShop, but dedicated system to that. They could put a lower price point on it,
Hmm.
89, $90, maybe not even that much, and then just sell a whole bunch of stuff. Because
Yeah,
as
that
a,
would be interesting.
I mean, as a generation, we're getting older.
We are, sadly.
I'm 30. Yeah, I'm almost 30, and I feel like I'm getting older. So I know there's a lot of people out there like, "Oh, this is stupid. He's 30. Shut the." But we grew up with that stuff, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of people that still argue that Link to the Past is the best Zelda, Super Mario 3 is the best Mario, Sonic 2 is the
Sonic,
best.
yeah.
Sonic
Yeah.
and
Sonic 3.
Sonic 3.
Sonic 3.
I'd say Sonic and Knuckles, because then you can play all of
Oh, true.
them.
True. True.
But
Hmm.
there's a lot of that stuff that isn't readily available, and the virtual console's good, but there's I don't know that
Something's missing.
I don't know if it's personality or what, but there's something that isn't quite right with it. It could be the fact that Nintendo really overcharges for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like paying like some like 10 10
15
bucks. Yeah,
bucks
10
for like
15 bucks
a
for
N64 game.
yeah.
So, but I think that'd be pretty cool. Sega obviously would have a little harder of a time because they only have, the Genesis and the Master System and stuff
Hmm.
like that. But technology is to the point now where they could probably incorporate Sega CD games and stuff like that. Um, PlayStation, unfortunately, they would just have to step up the Vita catalog because they're really pushing
Yeah.
for that. Um, and then there's mobile phones. I mean, you got to remember, mobile phones are a huge platform now. Mobile phone games outsell, um, console games almost 16 to 1.
Because you can buy 16 of them and it costs as much as one regular
Yeah,
game.
if that. So, and it's right there. I mean, everybody has a smartphone
Hmm.
now. Pretty much everybody. So, I don't know. Do you think it's
It.
something that's feasible?
I mean, I play older games on my phone. I have an emulator. I have a Super Nintendo emulator on
Right.
my Android phone, and that's how I play Pokemon and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. It's I'm you know, I'd be excited for it. I don't think I'm the only one. I definitely go out and take a look at you know,
It'd be cool if the Ouya could do this.
yeah, well, it's open source and hackable.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it
yeah.
will be
Well, it
able
will.
to.
It will. Yeah, it's Android based, and I'm pretty.
You're playing emulators
Yeah,
on
on my
Android.
on my Android. Ooh,
So,
I'm gonna love the Ouya
yep, $99. Too bad
Good
you
boy.
can't kickstart it. Um, but it'd be cool if they could get to the point where you could play like all of the games on one console. Like, say you want to play Super Mario Brothers, and you could play Super Mario Brothers one through New Super Mario Brothers, all on one console on a handheld. That
Wow.
that would be backwards compatibility. A lot of people scoff at it, but I think it's really important because people put a lot of money into these games, and then
Mhm.
just down the drain.
Yeah. Wow. What would they call this? What would they call that master system?
Nintendo. I like the retro entertainment system.
The
Um,
RES.
yeah, the Sega they could go old school and just call it the new Sega Master System.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Neo Geo would call it the Neo Geo X Gold.
Yeah, they can do that. They can do that. Do you think that the Nintendo and Sega might see this Neo Geo X Gold as possibly a future avenue for them.
Yeah, it could be. It's very possible. The other thing is, with Microsoft's new tablet coming out, is it really going to be worth it? Because that's going to be Windows based, so then you can just get emulators.
True.
So you got to think about that.
Hmm.
Our second discussion topic is a pretty lengthy, in-depth one that we probably will have a lot to say about nothing. But
Depends on how you want to take it. Yeah.
we do reviews, and reviews are always opinion based, and that's what this discussion topic's about. What makes a game good? What makes it enjoyable? And what makes it successful?
Yeah. Or one way we could start this topic is, what is what are the right off the top of your head? What are your 3 favorite games?
Shadows of the Colossus, A Link to the Past, and Lollipop Chainsaw.
For me, I would probably say Phantasy Star Online,
Mm-hmm.
Metal Gear Solid, and Resident Evil 2.
Okay. All right.
And
all those games have nothing in common with any
no,
of our other picks either.
Yeah, none of them. I mean, they have nothing in common, but for some reason, these games are absolute. They come to the top of the pile or whatever. So I mean, what makes these games good?
Well, let's do it this way. How important are graphics to you?
Not completely important.
Okay. Let me rephrase that. Hey, how important are graphics to you if they pick an art style and fail at that art style? Like, say they go for a cartoony look and it looks awful. Would that deter from your game experience?
It might. Like, I remember when they first announced Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody was so sold on the art style that Ocarina of Time built for the Zelda games.
The realist, the
more
realistic
one. So when the Zelda came along, a lot of people. I mean, even I was a little like, whatever.
It was a shock to the system.
Yeah, basically. But I ended up liking it. It grew on me. I'm trying to think of an example where like the art style of the game kind of just detracted me.
See, I'm more of a fan of that kind of art style, like the non-realistic, because I think the photorealistic kind of hinders the game long term. Like, the more realistic you get or try to get, the worse the game's going to look
Later
in a
on
year,
down the line,
2 years down the line. Like, Crisis 1 looked amazing when it came out, but now it doesn't look as amazing. So, graphics for me aren't a huge deal.
Yeah.
I think if they pick an art style and stick to it and do it well, then
Busting out the southern accent.
yeah, I've been practicing accents, but if they stick to it and it's well done, then it's all right. I think the only time graphics really play an issue for me is if there's problems with them, like screen tearing, motion blur. I really hate motion blur.
Yeah, I don't like getting dizzy.
Yeah,
when I look at it.
Nobody benefits from motion blur. So stuff like that. We'll skip the next one. Controls. Controls are a big one for me. If it is not responsive, I'm putting it down.
If the controls are, especially like for like an adventure game.
Yeah.
Or like quick time events or something like that, where things pop up, and if the controls aren't responsive and you're dying a lot and it's just clunky, your hands hurt when you're like pushing the buttons. I mean, there were times when I was doing some things in Gears of War 3 where I would be holding the buttons in to do this and do that. And it's just like, man, my fingers hurt. I mean,
I had that problem with Witcher 2 when I was trying to play it with a keyboard, but then I switched to an Xbox controller and it was fine.
Felt better.
So consoles, you're really limited. At least some games have control schemes, but that's not the big issue here. The big issue is like what you said, responsiveness, how tight the controls are. Like Sonic 4 Episode 1, I think was really bad because the whole control scheme was off.
Too sensitive.
Yeah, it just didn't feel right. So I, at least personally, I factor control in a lot. So if it doesn't feel fluid, then no matter how good it looks,
Something's wrong.
yeah. So sound,
I
yeah,
I like. I mean, yeah, sound design and stuff like that's one of the things that brings you into the game. You know, if it's flat, you know, or the voice acting's bad, it's gonna detract you. And yeah, sound design is one of the things that really pulls you in, like the ambience, you know, the ambiance, however you want to say it. Sound is an sound is an important factor.
yeah. I music and effects don't phase me too much. I think that's just from playing World of Warcraft so long. I don't really pay
Oh,
attention to that stuff anymore. But voice acting is really important to me. If the voice acting's bad, I have a hard problem finishing the game. Luckily, most of the games now
yeah,
hire real
yeah,
voice
yeah.
actors.
They.
Are Nolan North. He's in like everything, so you're good
I
there.
remember when I remember RPGs back then. You know, they didn't have we would be reading all the dialogue for the characters, and then what was it when Final Fantasy X came along?
Oh,
Like that was like, wow.
that was really cool, but I still hate Titus. That guy
Oh,
drives me nuts.
oh, his voice.
Just the character. I mean,
Oh,
his voice was stupid too, but the character. He all he did was cry the whole game.
pretty much.
Then you find out he's not real. Spoiler
Yeah, yeah.
alert.
How many years later?
Yeah. If you don't know by now, you're not gonna
Yeah.
know. Repetitiveness is a big problem in games right now. I don't
Gears
know.
of War 3.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. You know, I put up that map, and I really wish I could. I might actually still have it. So
The Doom map.
yeah, let me see if I still have that here. Repetitiveness, just in general, has I don't know where it really came from. It's just like game designers started getting lazy. Said, oh, we'll just reuse everything. Yeah, here it is. Let's put this up. There we go. We'll cover our faces up. But I mean, that, like I said last time, and I think this was on the one that cut out. The one from 1993 is a Doom map, whereas the one from 2010 is from Modern Warfare 1, I think.
Yeah, it's
Um,
ridiculous.
and that's really bad because you look at that Doom map and you say, wow, there's a lot of hidden corridors, there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of places I can go. Um, and none of that stuff really repeats.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different experience. Now, granted, the textures and stuff repeated and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but the game experience was a lot different. Whereas I can tell you that 2010 map, the first straightaway with the cutscene, probably played the same at every level.
Yep.
So it's go to point A, end this, go to point B.
Yep.
So, and gameplay repetitiveness for me personally, I'm really starting to see it. Because we're reviewing a lot of games
Yeah,
now.
we're reviewing games
Uh,
now. We're playing them more.
there's really only like 4 genres of games. There's
The
not much of a breakout in like major games. Like there's action game, there's an RPG,
hmm
there's a fighter, and then occasionally there's something different.
like
You don't see too many innovations anymore. So you
no,
don't see the
it's
RPG.
it's kind of starting to plateau.
Yeah, and I mean there's only so many genres out there, but when I can pick up Bayonetta and play it because it plays the same as God of War, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And first person shooters are all the same. The only difference is some of them get tricky and swap the button you use to
hmm
shoot.
Yep.
That's their idea of innovation. Like
hmm
you have to use the smaller button to shoot. So, well.
What about story?
Depends on the game. Obviously, Pac-Man Championship Edition doesn't have much of a story,
Yeah.
but I really enjoyed it.
hmm
I think if the game is going for a story, it should do it well.
Yeah. It shouldn't feel. You should at least care.
Right. Like Gears of War 3, all I heard was, again,
Yeah.
more. It was like,
Oh.
It sounded like they were just coming out of the screen and stabbing you every time there was a plot twist. You're like, I saw this coming.
Oh man, I gotta get this now. Oh man, I need to go here. Oh,
I think that goes with the repetitiveness.
Yeah,
there.
It was
like
I'll get to it.
Mass Effect in general, I think did really good because none of the content was really rehashed over the 3 games. Like every mission was a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Now, story-wise, now gameplay-wise, they all play the same.
Yeah,
it actually suffers from that map. Go through this, point A to point B. Choose whether you want the good answer or the bad answer. Okay, this guy lives. That's it. So, but the story was good for Mass Effect.
Yes.
Like if that guy lived, then in the 3rd game he comes back and you're like, man, I wish I would have killed that guy. So
pretty much.
Yeah, story. Like I said, story is important if they try to go for one. Now, like games like Lollipop Chainsaw and stuff, where they don't take themselves seriously at all. Story, I think, in that is terrible.
You're just along for the ride.
Right. Exactly. It's kind of like as a movie guy, it's kind of like the drama versus the superhero movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, aliens are invading Earth. Okay. Well, this wouldn't win an Oscar, but it's fun to watch.
Exactly. It's like a popcorn flick.
Right. Exactly. Sales. This is more like the commercial success side. I think companies unrealistically expect sales to be higher than what they should.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that's a downside to the investor market that we live in. And this I could actually talk a long time about, but I'll spare all the crap I read and think about. But I think they should. I think all the companies need to bring it back a notch in terms of sales. I think the indie market is kind of where the game industry needs to be to survive. Where when I sell 100,000 copies, that's great.
Yeah.
When I sell 1.2 million copies, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's not bar minimum. Like Reckoning is the big one that comes to mind. They needed to sell $3.2 million worth, or 3.2 million units to break even.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, for a single game.
And what happened to them?
Well, Rhode Island currently owns the IP, so we'll go from that. But that company, what they should have did is they should have said, okay, we'll start smaller. Obviously, we want to make this huge game, but bring it back a notch. Say, okay, they sold like 1.5 million copies, which is great for a first-time studio and a first-time game. If they would have made the game a little smaller, planned a little better, and not expected to sell Call of Duty numbers worth of stuff, they'd probably still be around. So,
oh well.
Yeah. All right. Gameplay. If it's an RPG, what makes it a good RPG? If it's a fighter, what makes it a good fighter? And you can incorporate.
Like, okay, I'm trying to bring it back to all the games that I like in those genres. Like RPG, I'm thinking action RPG. I'm thinking like PSO, Monster Hunter, Dragon's Dogma,
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I mean it's just something.
There's like that the X factor.
Yeah, there has to be. There's some like magical element that just like pulls me in, and it's gotta be. It's really just gotta be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it can't be a chore when you're doing a lot of this stuff. You gotta feel. There's just something in these games that actually pulls me in, and you can get lost in it. Like Dragon's Dogma, I was surprised at how much time I put into that game in in a week.
And enjoyed it.
And actually enjoyed it. It reminded me of all those times when I used to play, like I said, Monster Hunter, PSO. Like PSO, like they announced a PSO 2 finally after like so many years. But I looked at some of the videos and I'm like, I still don't. It still doesn't look like it has that flair from the first game. Like it kind of reminds me of a PSU, Fantasy Star Universe.
Yeah.
Which was like a really crappy version of PSO. I mean, me and my brother still play the original PSO. We have it on the GameCube.
That's pretty impressive.
That
you still have a GameCube.
Yeah. We still play it.
Yeah. I think to me it's just a combination of all of that. I
Yeah.
think if they do all of those other things,
It's like a perfect storm.
right?
Some
They
games just get it together really well.
they don't even need to be genre defining in those other categories as long as they pick something and it works well.
Mm-hmm.
Like Transformer games are notorious for being cool looking and gameplay's all right, but the controls are always terrible. Whereas High Moon Studios fixed that, and best Transformers game ever.
Yeah.
Which the new one comes out next week.
I need to try the demo to that. So, have you played the demo yet?
Mm-mm.
I saw it on Xbox.
I'll have to check to see if it's on PlayStation. It's weird that we're on opposite consoles.
Yeah,
now.
no. I feel alien.
Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about, and this is another topic I can kind of go on about, is Metacritic and how I think Metacritic is stupid. Game companies are actually rated on Metacritic scores.
Wow.
Just to give you an idea, I forget which developer it was, but they made a game, and one of them tweeted that they didn't get their bonus because they didn't hit their 85% Metacritic score, which, if I remember right, the game was like at 83%.
Wow.
It's the only industry that sales expectations and funding is directly derived from Metacritic. You don't see movie companies going to Metacritic and say, "Oh well, Superman, Man of Steel got 72%
On Rotten Tomatoes.
so we're not going to pay the director all of the money." So it's really, I think it's really stupid. I think Metacritic as a whole is a good idea, but I think the way the industry uses it is bad.
Yeah.
So and don't get me started on like the user side of it, because I've showed you that people just rate zeros and tens. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no in between. They're like, if it's Call of Duty instead of Battlefield 3, it's a 0, and vice versa. And people do that. If it's Mass Effect 3 instead of Hello Kitty, it's a 0 instead of 10.
It's dumb.
Yeah, I think that would really help the game industry if they, if somebody makes a bad game, obviously don't fund the next game, or give them less funding for the next game.
Yeah.
There'll be more incentive to
Make a
do
good
better.
game.
Right.
Which we've been preaching for a while on this show.
Make a good game.
Make better games.
Well, let's talk about some good games. We ranted about the game industry for a good 20 minutes. So,
Reviews.
yeah, all right. I'll actually go first this week. So, my review is actually going to be on Pac-Man Championship Edition DX. I do have a little bit of a video for you, so we'll go ahead and play that first. So, this is not not your dad's Pac-Man. This is a completely new take on Pac-Man. Championship DX has actually been out for quite a while, but it's free this month on PlayStation Network. So I finally got a chance to pick it up, and I'm actually really glad I did. I'm actually sorry I didn't try it sooner, because it's actually a really fun game. I mean, as you see, it's a lot different than your traditional Pac-Man, where you're just avoiding ghosts and going around and picking up the pellets. There's a lot of strategy involved. There's a lot of ghost eating, as you'll see here. This is actually time attack, where you're trying to go for the highest score in 5 minutes. There's also a 10-minute mode. So it's a lot different in that aspect. As you see, there are ghosts that do randomly walk around more than some that just follow you. So it's pretty crazy. You watched me play a good amount of it, and you were just in awe of what they did to Pac-Man.
Yeah, it's like it's been souped up.
Right. So, but as you see, it is very fast-paced. There's a lot of levels. There's a lot of actually visual styles. Unfortunately, I only have this one, but there's like the 3D Pac-Man in like Legoland. There's all kinds of stuff. Online leaderboards with a variety of game modes. Like I said, there's ghost mode, where you have to, the highest amount of ghosts you kill counts. Score attack mode, like we're watching here. Time trial mode, where you got to eat a certain number of fruit within the time limit. there's a lot to it. As you see, it's very authentic. It still has the original Pac-Man music, which I cut out so you could hear me talk. uh, but there is a lot of music on there. I
I like the colors.
Yeah, this is actually the theme I normally play with, just because A, it's the easiest, and B, it does look pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple of cons to it, uh, but really not a lot. The first major con is there's not a whole lot of replayability if you're not really into the score attack mode. Like, uh, there's probably about 10 levels with a lot of variety in those 10 levels. Like, each level has a few different modes. Um, but if you're not the competitive leaderboarding type, you probably won't get too much out of this game. The other downside is this is it. Like, there's no classic Pac-Man. You have to purchase, the Namco classics if that's what you want to play. It's just the score attack. Uh,
Hmm.
Eat as many ghosts as you can edition. But like I said, it is free on PlayStation Plus right now. So,
Get
definitely,
it while you can.
yeah, if you have PlayStation Plus, pick it up because it's the most fun you'll have for free.
Exactly. I mean, and free is good.
Free is good.
Free is good.
Well,
Well,
$7 a month.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, you have a full release for us.
Yes.
So, you're going to be reviewing Gears of War 1. I mean, 3.
You mean 1 plus 2 equals 3?
Oh, I'm not good at
Yeah.
math.
Basically, I reviewed Gears of War this week, and I've been waiting to play Gears of War 3 for, I mean, since 2.
Yeah,
I mean,
we all have.
yeah. I mean, this game looks amazing. One of my first pros that the visuals were amazing. When I'm running through this game, I'm like, wow, it looks really good. Um, they
It's an
finally,
Unreal Engine.
yeah, it's that Unreal Engine. They finally added 4-player co-op. Me and my one of my old coworkers, we've been playing Gears of War since it was the first game I ever got for the 360. Well, besides Tomb Raider. And we would play what was it, insanity mode, insane mode,
Yeah.
and bump it up to the highest difficulty. We had so much fun. Like, man, we should have more players. And then when Gears of War 2 came out, they still had 2-player co-op for campaign mode, and they finally got the 4-player going. And I mean, that's cool. It's a challenging game. I haven't done too much of the multiplayer because I've mostly been just playing the story, and I just finished it like the other day. Um, it's a good it looks good. It plays just like all the other Gears of War games. That's my main con. Um, my main con is that the game is virtually unchanged. It's the same formulaic gameplay. You know, you gotta go through. We talked about the level design where you're going up, go down this hall or go down this pathway, make a turn. You get ambushed, you kill all the bad guys. People talk for a little bit. Another ambush happens. They talk a little bit more. If you're fighting something huge like a big monster or something like that, you just keep shooting at it until some like rocks fall on it and kill it. I mean, this is literally Gears of War. This is what Gears of War 3 is, and that's the same as it has been in Gears of War 1 and 2. Virtually unchanged formulaic gameplay. The story is finally concluded, but it still feels. I mean, like it's kind of hashed together. I didn't feel that complete.
Marcus's dad is the head locust. He made them. He's Darth Vader.
I didn't.
He's his father.
I mean, the game's been out for how long? This came out last September, something like that. I mean, okay, people know.
Yeah.
The people know some of the spoilers. Like Dominic died.
Yeah.
So
you had to know that was coming.
I knew it was coming eventually. So Dom died, and
once you found his dead wife, it was only a matter of time.
yeah, when Dom died, it didn't really hit me as much as I thought it should have.
Yeah.
Like when a character died in Mass Effect, you were like,
oh man.
Yeah, you really felt it. It
yeah.
Like, I was like, wow. But here in Gears of War 3, I'm like,
What about Coltrane?
He survived. I mean,
Good.
I didn't feel like like Dom's death didn't affect me as much until maybe you saw the other characters respond. But even their responses to it were like, you know,
It happens.
like, yeah, and just it didn't carry enough weight as I thought it should.
Okay.
The story didn't carry enough weight. Like, you know, they touted that it was like written by that I can't think of her name now, Karen, the one she does some of the Star Wars books.
Travis.
Karen Travis, yeah. So I mean,
She writes the best Boba Fett books. She knows. I'm convinced that she knows Mandalorian, like the language.
Cool.
In her head.
But yeah, she wrote the Gears of War novels, so she did the script for this game. And, I mean, it just.
Yeah.
One of the, let me add that they did add multiplayer is probably where this game is kind of.
Yeah, they seemed like they were building up to the best multiplayer experience.
They added a beast mode, which I haven't played yet, where horde mode you play as the cog, and you're fighting off waves of locusts. Beast mode you play as the locust, and you're fighting off waves of cog.
Nah.
So that's pretty neat.
I just picture Optimus Primal in Rat Trap.
Beast mode, I got you now.
Yeah.
But ultimately, this game, my analogy for this game is like a car. You already have a really nice car, and the only thing that you're doing to it is like, you know, giving it a new paint job, giving it a new sound system. That's all Gears of War 3 is to me.
Under the hood, it's the same.
Under the hood, it's still the same. That's Gears of War 3. Originally, I was going to give the game an 8 out of 10, but I'm going to give it an 8.5. You know, I got it I got the game on sale, so I don't feel offended or anything like that playing the game. So
I don't know if I gave mine a score. I gave Pac-Man a 9 out of 10. I just don't know if I said it.
Oh.
So, yeah. I mean, from what I've heard about it, it's it's Gears of War.
It's just Gears of War. It's prettier Gears of War.
So we'll see how the next one ends up. Now that you're done Gears of War, I'm gonna steal the Xbox and play Trials. So, probably next week once I get some money.
Once you get some dough.
Some dinero.
I'll be playing. I think I'm gonna get a orange box.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How much? You said it's like $11 now.
Or no, it's $20, but it's $30 over at GameStop.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
But then you can play Portal again.
True. I did like Portal.
And Half-Life, when they announced Half-Life 3.
Yeah, I need to catch up.
So.
That ending was crazy.
Not what's her crap? Alex? Is it Alex?
Yeah, her dad.
Yeah.
Got killed and everything.
Yeah.
We're spoiling things that you should already know.
Yeah, Half-Life 2 came out in like what, 96 or something? No, it wasn't that. 2000 something, but still. Mm-hmm. Well, I think we've talked enough for the week. You can follow either one of us, or both of us. You can follow him at Cisco Davis Jr. On the Twitter. You can follow me at Spider1 on Twitter. You can check us out at gamersdigest.me. You can also look up Gamers Digest Podcast on YouTube for all the past shows. Current shows usually try to be posted by Friday or Saturday, barring any technical problems that we always seem to have.
Yeah, do we have any today?
No, everything's good. We didn't drop a single frame through all the gameplay videos. Everything looks good. So I think since I've upgraded the license, everything's working pretty good now. So cool. As long as Twitch TV doesn't have any problems. But yeah, like I said, check out the website, check out YouTube. We're still looking for questions, so send them to gamersdigestpodcast@gmail.com. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Ciao.
We'll leave you guys with this trailer.
Gamers Digest is a Spider One and Mr. Fantastic production. Send your questions to gamersdigestpodcast@gmail.com. Intro music by MF Greth, any music by Fapito. Check them both out at newgrounds.com.